Okay, guys, we are on live. Welcome to all. I want to speak today about Pesach, a little bit about the 10 plagues, but then I want to try to go ahead and connect it to this week's Parsha. Richard, do you know all the 10 plagues that happened
Let me ask you a question, Rabbi. I think I got 7 or 8. Dam, Sifadeya, Kinim, Arev, Dover, Choshes, Bechas, Becharot. Something like that. How's that?
He started amazing.
Very good, very
All
good.
right.
Very good, Richard. Richard, so you're right. So we had the Nile turn into blood, right? That was the first plague. Then we had the invasion of the frogs, which was the second plague. Then we had the lice, which was the third plague. Then we had the Jigarik Arov, which is the fourth plague where the animals attacked. Then we had Dever, which is the plague of the livestock. They started dying. Then we had the boils, hail, swarms of locusts, 3 days of darkness. And then we had the death of the firstborn, right? Makat Bechorot. Now I want to try to focus on that. I want to try to focus on Makat Bechorot. Before we actually start speaking about Makat Bechorot, I want to ask you, Richard, how is it possible that Paro, or Pharaoh, however you guys call him, punishment after punishment, he did not wake up. He did not release the Jewish people. How is that possible?
It's almost foolish not to do it.
Correct, I'm saying Hashem gives him one punishment after another punishment, and still Paro did not wake up. Right? We know the Torah
He hardened his
states.
heart, Rebbe. He hardened his heart.
Correct, Hashem hardened his heart.
Himself.
Correct. Why? No, because he had to make the test even. He didn't want to make it easy, you understand? When you have that kind of responsibility to punish the Jewish people, you also have to be able to let them go, but it can't be easy. Hashem specifically made it hard.
It's made it hard for us, no?
No, for
We weren't
them,
ready.
no, for him, not for us. That's for us. It's something else. I'm saying if Paro would have used his heart without Hashem hardening his heart, he would have let us go right away. You're being punished. You let them go. What am I dealing with them? But Hashem had to make, it had to be equal. You can't use a regular humane heart and go ahead and be able to be a king or leader over the Jewish people and punish them. You understand? So I want to share with you guys like this, Rabotai. Unfortunately, it happens many times to many of us, Richard, where, sometimes Hashem gives us a smack here and there, right? The question is, do we wake up? The question is, do we change? Right? Some people can lose a parent. Just yesterday, I walked into a shul. I didn't see this guy maybe for 20 years, maybe for 25 years. And I see him sitting on the floor in the synagogue, in our shul. He never comes. I'm like, why are you on the floor? So he tells me his sister passed away. I know his sister. He says his sister at the age of 58, 59, which is very sad.
Yeah.
But Chas v'shalom, sometimes Hashem, he sends people plagues. He also Hashem sends people, wake-up calls. And people don't wake up until Chas v'shalom, until you get to the last plague. Right? Lolin, it should never Chas v'shalom be children. But Rabotai, I want to ask you, how is it possible that a person, forget about power for a second, that a person who's being afflicted, you see, God forbid, financial problems, shalom bayit problems, children problems, you see things are not going. Why don't we wake up, Jigarik?
It's Rabbi. I gotta say something quick. Sometimes we do wake up and we do come closer, and yet still things are not going the way we expect them to go.
Well, you think
How do
it's
how
going
do we
to change
answer that?
overnight? But that's the test. Give it some time. Let the ball start rolling. You think it's going to change
How much,
overnight?
Rabbi? How much? It's not doing good.
But now Hashem wants to see if you're really committed to Him. But you have to give Him some time. You got it. You have people where talit. Richard, you know what's a talis? Yes. Okay. So you got it. Sometimes people wear talitot, where people are not very careful with it because a lot of times you have stains on it, which is not proper. It's not good. A person's talit should be clean. You got it. You with me or not?
Yeah.
So one time I went to dry cleaning to a goy, to a non-Jew, and I told him, listen, I want to dry clean my talit, but I need it before Shabbat. I need it before Friday night. You hear Jigari? You know what he answered me? He says, 1 second. How long did you wear this talit for? How many years? You want me to make it clean as white as it was in one night? Are you serious? It's going to take some time. Same thing with us. The cleansing process for us, the Jewish people, takes time, Jigarik. What we did has to get undone. That, again, unfortunately, will take some time. Yes? Okay? But I want to share with you, we know that we are approaching, Richard, Shabbat HaGadol. You guys know what Shabbat HaGadol is? It's called the Great Shabbat. Right? The Shabbat before Passover, Richard, which is coming up, it's called the Great Shabbat. Why is it called the Great Shabbat?
Why?
We know, Richard, do you know when we came out of Egypt, on what day it was of the week and what date of the year? No. Okay, you said no. It was on the Thursday, on the 15th of Nisan in the Hebrew calendar. You ready for the Shigarik? 5 days prior, the Shabbat prior to that was the 10th of Nisan. On the 10th of Nisan, on a Shabbat, Hashem commanded the Jewish people to take the sheep from the Egyptians. And we know that the sheep were their gods, Jigarik. So can you imagine the Jewish people are going and they're taking the sheep from the Egyptians, and the Egyptians' firstborn came and they said, 1 second, what are you doing? Why are you taking our gods? What are you doing? So you know what they said? Hashem commanded us to slaughter them, to bring them as a sacrifice. But not only that, we have an obligation to take the blood of the animal and put it on the doorpost and on the lintel, on the thing that goes on top of the doorpost, in order for the Malach HaMashchit, in order for when Hashem is going to kill the firstborns, it's going to go over those houses, correct? It's going to pass over. That's why it's called one of the reasons. It's called Passover. Now, came the firstborn children of the Egyptians, what did they do? They went straight to their fathers. Now listen to this, Richard. They said to the fathers, let the Jewish people go. Because if you're not going to let them go, the firstborns are going to die, meaning the Egyptians. What happened? Richard, listen to this. They refused. They said, absolutely not. We're not letting them go. Not Paro, not nobody, Jigarik. And I'm going to show you what it means in ego. Even when a person can lose everything, still he's not going to go in. And I'm going to show you today, Jigarik, it's really the ego in us that's not allowing us to change. That's really the thing.
Excuse me, Rabbi?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So what you talked about 4 or 5 minutes ago with Reuben, and Reuben made a comment to you, you said it takes more time. What we're talking about right now is complete and utter faith in Hashem. That, my current sponsor tells me, even in my AA stuff, it's always about more understanding with Hashem. So when Reuben says he feels like he's getting a little bit closer to his Hashem, but things still aren't working out there, you say sometimes you got to give Hashem more time to move some things around.
Correct. Correct. Depending on the
also,
person's past. Correct, Richard.
No. But what I'm saying is, I try to lower my expectations and stay out of Hashem's results. Hashem is in charge of all results in life, right?
Correct. Yes, 100%.
So some of us might be complaining about certain areas of our life, but we may have already hit the lottery in Hashem's way of looking at us.
Correct.
And we may not feel that way. That's all I'm saying.
Very
about
nice.
that.
Very nice, Richard. I like that, Richard. Thank you. Very nice. So just to go back, Richard, to what we were saying, when the fathers decided not to let the Jewish people go with Paro, what happened, Jigarik? The firstborn started killing their own parents, Jigarik. They started fighting. Can you imagine that? The firstborn started fighting with their own parents.
Because they're about to
They have no choice. They don't want to let them go, so we're going to fight. What did the Egyptians do? They saw that the Jewish people made the Egyptian children turn against their fathers, so they took their swords and they wanted to go and they wanted to now kill all the Jewish people. You ready for this? What did Hashem do? Hashem caused them affliction and sicknesses where they were not able to move. You ready for this? Since they were saved on that Shabbat, it is called the Great Shabbat.
Oh, wow.
That's why it's called the Great Shabbat. Because Hashem saved us on that Shabbat from the hands of the Egyptians when they wanted to kill us, from all that anger that was, accumulated during that machloket, during that fight. Now, I mentioned today in the shul something very important. In today's parsha, in this week's parsha, in Parsha Vayikra, Richard, I want to try to connect the Parsha Vayikra, which is before Pesach, to Pesach itself, and I'll explain to you like this. Jigarik, we know that in numerical value, what is the smallest letter in the alphabet, numerical value-wise?
Aleph, no?
Very good, excellent. If you look into the Torah, when it spells Vayikra Jigarik, right, Vav, Yud, Kuf, Reish, and Aleph, the Aleph is spelled very small. Why so?
Why?
Now listen to this very carefully. Because we know when Hashem called out to Moshe Rabbeinu was the humblest of all men. To show you that he is very small. There's a great rabbi by the name of Rav Meir Eliyahu Shlitan. He asks a question. If the Aleph is the smallest letter in the numerical value, we learn a lot of things that you got it from our Torah, right? Indirectly. I could have learned that also out. Why did you have to make Vayikra, right? He could have said Vayikra. He called him. He didn't have to Vayikra. Why do you have to make the Aleph even smaller after it's already smaller in its numerical value? You hear the question? You sure? No.
Why would he have to make it smaller when it's already the lowest number?
Exactly.
Numerically?
Exactly. Excellent. So comes Rav Meir Eliyahu and he says that when it comes to being humble, a person has to try to go to the end of the extreme of being humble. You don't take the middle route, the middle road. You have to go to the furthest extreme when it comes to being humble. Why is that important? Because Rav Meir Eliyahu says when a person is humble, you know what he does? He realizes that everything is from Hashem and he's able to come closer to Hashem. But if a person has an ego inside of him, who does he think is really giving everything that he has? Jigarik? He thinks his own hands, correct? He thinks he's the one that's doing it. So what happens now? Now it pushes him away from Hashem because he doesn't think about Hashem. Can you imagine if a person has nothing, chas v'shalom, automatically when people, I'll give you an example. When people have problems, what do? They speak to Hashem, correct? One person, everything's going good. When do they remember Hashem? For what try to remember Hashem? So you have to understand what really was happening over here in the Egyptian story was, you got to listen to this. Since they were so haughty, not even after the 9 plagues they didn't learn, even after their children were killed, they still didn't get their full message until they ran after the Jewish people and they got drowned in the sea, correct? But you could see from over here what ego can do, how it can hurt a person. And I'll tell you something, Richard, knowing all this, you still have people that husband and wife don't talk, brothers don't talk, father, mother, sister, whatever. People don't speak, you understand? It all comes down to this one quality trait of being egotistic. But what they can dive into Hashem. They can learn Torah. They can do mitzvot. I don't want to be the one saying it, but I have to say, to learn Torah, to do mitzvot, to pray to God, a person, it's not only about doing it. Deep down inside, you really have to feel that you're nobody and you're really depending on Hashem. Because the reason why you're doing everything is because Hashem commanded you. When somebody commands you, that means there's somebody over you, and you're doing it because He said. That means who are you? You're Hashem's slave. You with me, Jigarik? In order to be able to do that, you have to be humble. People don't like taking orders, you understand? But in order to do what Hashem says, you have to take orders. How do you take orders? When you humble yourself. And this is one of the biggest problems today is when you tell a person to try to do something right, they can't. Why? Not because they don't want to. Because they have this pride in them. Me? What do you mean? How can I do it? You understand? So it's a very big problem. If we are able to work on our haughtiness and bring it down to being humble, a person is going to be able to build a very effective communication with Hashem.
So, Rabbi,
go ahead.
By the way, beautiful point. I totally agree with that. But in business, in our lives, in my business, confidence is critical.
Confidence is not being haughty. I didn't tell you nothing about it. Confidence is not being haughty, Jigarik. You could be confident because you say Hashem believes in me, I believe in myself. One has nothing to do with another. Haughty means, prideful means when you look down on other people. You understand, Jigarik? That's what haughty means. It doesn't be, you have to be confident.
Down on other people.
He's
Correct.
Right. Rabbi, when Reuben talks about that, there's a very fine line drawn between being confident in what you do, how you do it, in the way you talk to your people. That's really, but yes, anyone that has, whether they have a lot or not, Rabbi and Reuben and group, I have 50 million and $100 million guys, and if they're arrogant, I'll do business with them, but I won't go to grab a cheeseburger with them.
Right, correct.
So there's a nice
grabbing cheeseburgers, period, man.
He meant say burgers.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Wrong group.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm done.
It's just a form of speech, guys. It's either he eats kosher,
So, Jugad, I want to bring out a point. I want to tell people, so I'm very happy that you brought that point. You know, certain people have kishronot. How do you say kishronot in English? Certain people are gifted with certain things, correct? That's not being haughty, Jugarik. If Hashem gifted you with a good voice so you can sing, so you sing to Hashem. If Hashem gifted you with money, you should go out and help people, you understand? You should do the right thing with what Hashem blessed you with. There are people, like for example, you have people that are gifted with certain talent. Doesn't mean that they're being egotistic. It's just Hashem blessed them and they have that confidence that they're able to do it better and good for Hashem. And that's very important to know, you understand? There's a very big difference between being confident and being egotistic or being prideful, looking down at other people.
Confident or cocky.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question, Garik. You walk in shul 8 o'clock. I'll show you how people can think. Well, 8 o'clock, Jigad, I don't know why people walk at 8 o'clock. But let's say, Jigad, you walk in 8 o'clock, correct? For example, you're davening already, you put on your tefillin, and you see a guy walk in at 8:20. What do you think of that guy? But be honest, Jigad.
What do I think of him?
Yeah, what would you think of him?
It depends on what the day that I'm having. If I'm having a bad day, I'm like, look at this slacker. Right?
You see?
If I'm feeling good, I'm having a good day. I made a couple of dollars the day before. I'm like, wow, look at this tzaddik. No matter what, he still shows up.
So I wanna tell you what our rabbis of blessed memory say, Jigarik. You have people that go to the mikveh, correct? Before davening, the pool with water. You have people that go to the mikveh, correct? Men, not women. I'm talking about men right now. Before davening, they go to the mikveh. Then they learn an hour before prayer. Then they pray. Then they learn another hour after prayer. Now listen to this, Jigarik. They already did half the things most people won't do till half of the day inside. Now you have a guy that walks in at 8:15, Jigarik, for the next davening. You know what this guy thinks that went to the mikveh? Look at him. Look at this. Look at this lazy guy. He walks in at 8:15 when I already did, half of the day's work. That over there, if you're going to do such thing, if you're going to have such thoughts, don't go to the mikvah, don't learn Torah. We don't want you to look at other people in a negative way, you understand? You have to be able to look, you have to be able to judge people favorably. Maybe you had a bad day, maybe something happened. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? That is over there, Gava. And by the way, when it comes to our relationship with Hashem, I'm going to ask you a question, Jigarik. If I tell you right now, I don't want to pick up this topic, but if I tell you right now not to go to the beach, why is it hard not to go to the beach? Why is it hard? Because you have an interest in it. Forget about your wife. Forget about your children. You yourself have an self. I'm just saying, you got it. You go kosher beach, right? You yourself have a self-interest in it. What is that self-interest? That is the ego. That is the pride. I want to have this. I want to eat this, but that's a problem. But what about Hashem wants? You understand? The Gemara Masechet Ta'anit brings down something very fascinating. What does it mean to learn Torah Lishma? What does it mean? Excuse me. What does it mean to learn Torah for its Hashem's sake? What does that mean, Jigarik?
You do it solely for Him.
So I said that, but what are you repeating after me?
Whether you understand, you don't understand, you just do it because it was told to be done.
You guys are saying something. I want to tell you, and again, Elon, you guys are saying very good, but I want to tell you something strong. You know what Rashi says? Rashi says, Shetzivah HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem commanded you to learn. That's what you're learning. That is Torah Lishma. That is Torah for its sake. You understand? I do things in the world not because I want to do it. Yeah, it brings me a lot of pleasure, but I do it because you, Hashem, said to do it. But when are you going to be able to reach that level, Jigarik? When a person has when he's humble. Jigga, can I ask you a question? What's so hard to come to Nets? Can I know? Right now, Nets is very late. Why can't I don't want to, Jigarik, why don't you see people davening Nets? Why people have to come 8 o'clock? Why? What's that? Hi, Jigarik.
Some of these guys got young wives, Rabbi. Some of you got young wives.
Young wives, yeah, young wives. What about they're still sleeping? You come back, they're still going to be sleeping.
They want to stay in bed over there, cuddle.
It's a valid.
They got in the back of their mind, they got a second minion and a third minion.
Well said, but I'm asking you, Elon, one second. But you have to understand, Elon. When it comes to work or when it comes to something important, you'll give up your sleep, you'll give up that wife, you'll give up the pleasures just to go make that extra dollar. Why? Because you need it. You understand. You have to do it. Same thing in Avodat Hashem. We have to understand that it is important and it has to get done. But if you don't see it like that, it's going to be very hard to do it. Jigarik, you understand what I'm saying or no, Jigarik?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Jigarik, I want to tell you, there was a person, nobody should ever know. When a person becomes a vegetable, he can no longer move. They start speaking through their eyes. They look at the computer and everything. One thing he realized, he said that I thought this whole time that I was running the world, right? Always running from place to place, never gave enough time to Hashem. Whatever it was, the low lane, he had a very bad car accident, he became a vegetable. Who knows when he's going to get out of bed? Maybe never. He said, now I realize that my life is really in the hands of Hashem. He says, I have nothing to do, I can't move, nobody comes to see me, nobody cares for me, besides maybe the family, or the doctors. But he started realizing what life is really about. He started connecting himself more with Hashem. Why? Because now, what is he going to do? We don't have to reach such a point where we are vegetable to realize that God runs the world. You could do it even beforehand. Jiga, I'm going to tell you with a story. This happened a few years back. I tried to explain to a certain family how it's very bad to go to mixed parties, right? You shouldn't go where there's mixed dancing, like club nights, whatever. So there's a particular lady over there, an elderly lady. Maybe she was at that time, maybe in her 40s, maybe 45, I don't know. So she started confronting me. So I said, listen, whatever you do, don't go against the Torah. You want to do something wrong, don't, do it, you'll get punished. But don't educate other people also to do it. So you know what she told me, Jigarik? All these stories. I said, listen, with all due respect, I said like this, you're not going to go to the wedding. That's what I told you. You're not going to the wedding. She said, why is that possible? I said, because you spoke up against Hashem. Jigarik, I want to tell you, a week later, Jigarik, she was going down the stairs to her car in the basement. She fell on the stairs, chas v'shalom. She was running, she didn't pay attention, she skipped a step. She broke on her foot by the bones, 5 different places, Jigarik. Not only was she couldn't go, now her husband couldn't go, because he had to watch her at home. Why do we have to reach such a level where we're forced to stay home? I don't understand. Why can't we make those right decisions? But again, we're going to come back to this Vayikra Aleph. If we have that humility, if we're humbled enough, we're going to be able to do the right decision. And I'm going to tell Jigarik, you have workers working for you. When you tell them to do something, why do they do it? You think they want to listen to you? If it was up to them, they would probably kill you on the spot. No, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying, right? Why would any worker want to listen to his employer? For what reason? Because they have to humble themselves for a piece of check or for a piece of paper, whatever it might be. Correct? Jigarik, listen to this. This is only temporary. We have to humble ourselves for the eternity that's awaiting us. We have to put it into that perspective. If we're not going to put it into that perspective, we're going to get lost. Robert is here. Wow, Robert. I want to know, where's Michael K? I haven't seen him. He's here or no? He was here yesterday. Okay, fine. Robert, can I ask you a question? I'm going to pick on Robert for a second.
Rabbi, we lost a lot of fans. Rabbi, we lost a lot of fans.
That's what happens when you don't come.
I hear.
Look at that. He's
I think you
17
guys should be
deep in
very
this
careful
class.
now.
We used to be 25, 26.
Joey and Israel, you guys are driving. Please be careful. Don't say anything extra.
Rabbi, what do you think if we just we all right now we could all
Man,
just
after
vote?
hearing that this lady cracked 5 toes, I'm good.
Straight up, I'm afraid of saying anything. I think we should all vote in right
Rabbi,
now.
you want another day off?
No, 1 second. Let me, Israel, let me ask you a question. Robert is busy. Israel, let me ask you a question. Do you know what the Gaon of Vilna, the Gra, you know what he compares this world to?
What?
You ever seen people, they have this rope across 2 mountains? You gotta know if you ever seen it. You have they walk on this rope.
Zip line, a zip line.
Yeah, but you're no zip lining right now. I'm trying to give you, but you're, okay, let's say zip line, correct?
Talking about like cliffhangers.
Like cliffhanger, yes, like cliffhanger. Like, the Gaon of Vilna says, we are at a point in this world where we're living now, Jigarik, that you have to hold on. You have to hold on to the rope. So how strong? That as if somebody's shaking you. And the weak are going to fall off and the strong are going to hold on. You understand? But which ones are going to hold on? Jigarik, you ready for this?
Bicep exercises.
1 second, you ready for this, Jigarik? Because the Torah says, "Ez Chaim Igal machazikim bo." You know which people are going to stay on, on the rope? The people that hold on to the Torah. Jigarik, what's going on?
Wow.
Go ahead, kiss him.
Whoever got a strong grip.
Hello, beautiful. Okay. Jigarik, you ready for this? The people that are going to be able to hang out to that rope and not fall off, you know which ones? The ones that throughout their lifetime held on to the tree of life. Now I want to try to explain it to you. Whenever you have those tsunamis, correct? And you have logs of trees that get broken. Yes? Imagine a person gets caught in the current and he sees one log. What do you do, Jigarik? How tight do you have to tie? How tight do you have to hold on to it?
As tight as you
With
can.
all your life, correct? If
Your
you
life
even
depends
let go, even an inch, loosen a little bit, finish, correct? Comes the Gaon of Vilna, he says, in this world, in order to be able to serve Hashem, you have to hold on to the Torah with all your strength, with all your power. If it's 99%, Jigarik, you can slip up. Chas v'shalom. You can slip up. You understand? So that's what Rabotai. In order to be able to do that 100%, we have to be humble. We have to be humble. We have to understand that there is a God in the world. That He's the one that runs the show, not you and me, Jigarik. If He says to wake up early, we wake up early. If He says to learn Torah, we learn Torah. If He says not to look at her, Jigarik, you don't look at her. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Okay, Rabotai, I wanted to do a few halachot, but I'm not going to get a chance.
I get into a halacha.
Okay, let me do this really quick. Jack, come here for a second. I got Jack came over here. Can you come here for a second? Jack, come over here. You're making the people wait.
He's humble, Rabbi. He's humble.
Jack is the people's
He is
champ.
humble. By the way, he is humble, yes. Jack, come on a second. Say hi, Jack, come. No, go ahead, say hi.
Guys, have a
Just
great
say hi. Just say hi.
great
You
rabbi.
don't have to say great rabbi, just tell them hi. I want to share with you a few halachot, Rabotai. If a person is in the middle of the Shemona Esrei, Jigarik, are you obligated to answer Kaddish or Kiddusha?
Meaning, if I'm in the
Obligated,
middle,
you mean you stay silent or you physically have to speak?
Right, I'm saying, are you obligated to actually say the Kaddish with your mouth?
You got to stay mute. You got to say it in your thought.
No, so the halakha is going to be like, no, you never say it in your thought. No, you don't say it with your thought, Elon. What you're going to do is like this. The Shulchan Aruch states that if a person is in the middle of the Shemona Esrei and you hear Kaddish or Kiddusha, you have to pause. But when, Elon? If you know that the Shalich Tzibur, he's an expert in halachot, Jigarik, which means he's going to fulfill the people's obligation that are davening their Shemona Esrei with him. So whenever he's saying Kadosh, 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 he's including you with him. So by you listening, it's as if you are saying it. But that's only if he's an expert in halachot. You with me, Jigarik? Same thing with Kaddish. If he's saying Yehi Shmei Rabbah. Now, Jigarik, you have to be very careful. Because sometimes you see the Chazanim, they say it in a very low voice. If you can hear him, continue davening. If he's not an expert in halachot, continue davening, don't stop. The Chazan has to raise his voice louder than everybody else's in case there are people that are davening to get them in for the Kiddusha. You with me, Jigarik? For the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Nevertheless, Chacham Ovadia says something very nice. if you know you have a shalik tzibur that he's an expert, what happens? His voice is low. Tell the guy before davening, before even the beginning of shacharit, if you see I'm in the middle of my Shemona Esrei and you stopped your Shemona Esrei and you're answering Kadosh, tell the guy next to you, have me in mind so I can fulfill my obligation with you. You with me? You don't have to do it specific with him, even with the guy next to you. Yes? And one more important point, do you have to stop Shemona Esrei when it comes to Birkat HaKohanim? A lot of times you have people, when the people do, when the Kohanim start blessing, people tend to stand behind them, which is a very big problem. Even though after the fact it's fine, I don't want to get into those laws, but we want you, Jigarik, to stand in front of the Kohanim. Now, I know a lot of people stand to their sides, correct? The best is to literally stand in front of them.
Man, I feel like the shul is all, everybody's sitting backwards though while they're in the front.
Right, so they turn to us, correct? They turn to you.
Oh, they turn,
correct.
Right,
so you want to try to be in the center, because remember, when they're blessing you from their fingers, it's not they're blessing you. Hashem is coming from their fingers, Hashem is blessing you. So you want to try to get as much as the blessing, close as possible to the blessing. Now, during Shemona Esrei Jigarik, do you have to stop? Do you have to move to go and get blessed?
Good question.
No, so the halakha is going to tell you, no, you're not obligated, because you're not obligated to get blessed by a Kohen. You understand? What does that mean, Jigarik? If I was obligated to get blessed by a Kohen, that means if, let's say, we have no Kohanim on one day, that means I have to wait for the next minyan. You understand? I'm not obligated to go out of my way to find a Kohen that's going to bless me. So just like I'm not obligated, so therefore I'm going to... Say it again?
Do you stop the reading and just stand in place, or you don't
reading?
Continue.
Yeah, because I've seen people just keep on praying while the Kohanim...
Continue praying, correct. But if you want the best way, if you know you're a slow prayer, stand in front of the Kohanim at the time when you're davening Shemona Esrei. So this you include in the bracha right away. Or at least to their sides. Because remember, they turn, right? They turn sideways. Correct? At least to their sides. Okay, Rabotai. Anyway, guys, have a great week. Tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem, you guys are going to have Natan live. And then, B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to have...
Rabbi, when are you back? After Passover?
No, next week, Monday, Tuesday. Why after Passover? Next week.
What do you mean, Thursday you're not going to be?
No, Thursday we're putting Rabbi Avi Salomonov, B'ezrat Hashem. He's very good.
He's a very good
speaker. We're losing people.
Don't worry, we don't lose people, Rabotai. We get quality people. Quantity falls over, you get quality people. Ben, I asked him one time a person, Ben, you here? Do you want 10 investors to give you $10 million each? And there you go, you got your investment, Ben? Or do you want one after 100,000 people that are going to give you $1,000 each? I don't know. You want quantity or you want quality?
Quality.
That's it. Quality is the answer. And that's halakha in the Shulchan Aruch, in Siman Aleph, and halakha Dalet. We go after quality, you got it, not after quantity. You understand?
Can we change Ruben's legal name to Jigadik right at this point?
It is. Right there it says it. Yeah.
We're not losing anybody, Rabbi. There's people who have zechut to learn and people who don't.
Okay. You're right.
Amen.
You're right. Okay, Rabotai. Have a great one.
Good night,
I'll see you guys.
Rabbi.
I'll see you guys.
Where's the cigar, Rob?